on, everyone? Happy Friday. I hope you guys have all been having an amazing day today, but I'm gonna go ahead and break down my trade for you guys as usual and let you guys know my thoughts on the overall market and how it played out today. But let's jump right into today's recap. And so as you guys can see from the screen, right, it was another red day on the account overall, right? Down $156. In terms of how I did trading wise, I did trade both SQs and TQs today. But as you guys can see, I was down $5 on TQs and I made $109 on SQs, right? So I was able, to hit my daily goal again. And so I am super grateful for that. As you guys can see, not too many orders today compared to what I, normally do when I overtrade. So that's a good sign there, right? You guys can see I started trading right at 6:30 and I didn't stop trading until 7:15, right? So I traded for about 45 minutes today. And so let me go ahead and explain to you guys how I was able to, make my money majority on SQ, right? With that little loss on TQs. But in terms of what I saw going on, right? Heading into pre-market, I saw this thing was just selling off consistently, right? That's very easy to see. It was making these lower highs and lower lows, right? All pre-market. Then we had this nice sell-off right at 5:30, right? Because there were a series of reports that came out. And what ended up happening, this thing ended up selling off, right? Finally found a support, pushed up, got rejected by the EMA, ended up testing the support again, right? And we ended up pushing up here. So this is around right where market open was, right? And so I was looking at this thing on the bigger picture, right? Trying to see where exactly, this thing could possibly head it. So this thing was trading, right around these areas, right? And so what I saw was there was obviously potential for this thing to try to bounce somewhere and push back up, right? That definitely made sense to me, right? That the Nasdaq what is a little more oversold, right? Because we haven't selling off the past few days, but I didn't want to overcomplicate it and try to predict where this thing was going to end up bouncing if it did even bounce, right? Especially because we've been bearish all week. It wasn't, a surprise to me that we were more bearish on the day, and so that's why I wanted to personally focus on SQQQ, right? Although this thing was super oversold around these levels and could potentially bounce, I felt that there was more selling pressure given just how the weeks played out, right? And so if we were to break below this support, we could see some selling pressure down here before it ultimately tried to bounce, right? And this thing didn't even end up bouncing, right? The way I thought it could potentially recover. As you guys saw yesterday, this thing sold off, had a nice recovery, right? And today we sold off, but we didn't see that recovery like we saw yesterday. But, that's pretty much what ended up happening. And as you guys know, I did actually trade TQs, right? And in terms of where I decided to get in, well, once I saw this thing was validating a support, right, and starting to push up, I got into TQQQ. And right as this thing started to peak out and started to sell off and get rejected here, I ended up having to cut losses there, a small $5 loss. I was perfectly okay with that. And I was waiting for this thing to sell off and potentially try finding some form of support, right, to continue that pattern of this thing reversing up. But that's not what ended up happening, right? As you guys saw, right, this thing, as I mentioned, although there was potential for it to try to bounce, right, we were trading more bearish on the day. And because I saw this heavy rejection, I got out of TQs. I focused on SQs, right? And I wasn't going to try to, catch a bounce here, right? Instead, as I mentioned, I was trying to, ride this thing down. And although it was very choppy, right, and it didn't happen right away, we ultimately did, or were able, right, to get rejected on the EMA and push down all the way to lows of 11,923, right, for the Nasdaq futures. So that was awesome to see, and I pretty much finished trading right around these final pushes here, right? That's when I sold out completely. And what ended up happening, well, this thing caught a support, ended up pushing back up to the middle VWAP, right? And then it was just pretty much trading sideways and pretty choppy all day. So I was just happy that I was able to walk away, right, with my 1% daily goal on SQs early on in the day, so that I didn't have to necessarily overstay my welcome, right, and trade this choppiness, right? Because the chances are, if I continue trading, who knows if I would have made money, right? Because this thing was trading so sideways and direction wasn't very clear. So there was definitely more room to make mistakes there. And so that's why I'm glad I was just able to walk away when I did, right? So I am, very happy that I am ending green on the week. I am honestly, guys, thinking about scaling. So my brother will trade next week, but the week after, you guys may see me trade with $30,000. I'm not too sure, right, if that's, going to be the case as of yet 100%, but I am gonna aim for that. So that's something exciting to look out for. But other than that, I do appreciate your time. If you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and drop a comment down below, and we will be more than happy to answer it. If you guys want us to break down any stock or stock indicator, all you have to do is ask down below. But that's pretty much it. It has been raining pretty hard here in LA, and it will be this weekend. So I hope you guys all stay safe, stay dry, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday's recap. Take care.